So today we're going to be talking about hard money versus private money. I have a lot of people ask me, what's the difference? What's the difference between hard money versus private money? Well, first of all, we're talking here about borrowing capital to do deals, right? So you're doing a rehab, you need to borrow money to buy the property. Usually you need to borrow money then for the improvements. And so what we do is, instead of going to traditional financing, which takes time, credit, and a lot of other things that are difficult, especially if you're trying to get a deal quickly and there's urgency to the deal. So what we do is we turn to hard money or private money. And so there's really not a whole lot of difference except a few things. So let me talk about it. Okay, first of all, hard money is usually institutional money. So what is institutional money? What this means is, it means somebody has pooled money together into a collective. You know, it's different people have put money into a fund or a pool, and then that manager of that fund disperses it out as they see fit according to the criteria of their fund or pool or whatever. So why is that significant? Because there are a lot of regulations and licensing that go into hard money lending. Whenever you take somebody's money and then turn around and you're promising them a return on investment, then you turn around and invest it in whatever you invested in, that requires very specific licensing and regulation. That's why most hard money lenders are very regional. In other words, state by state, because what they do is they have to go get licensed and go through all of that process in different states. So usually you'll have a hard money lender, they'll be very specific, maybe a couple states, but usually it's just one state, and that's the state they focus on lending in. Now, how's private money different? Both hard money and private money have interest rates. Sometimes they have points, sometimes they have fees. You know, usually you're looking at the same loan to value, equity position as hard money. There's not a lot of differences that way. Oftentimes you can get private money for cheaper than hard money, which is one of the benefits, but that's not necessarily a distinction, right? The real distinction is private money, in my mind, the way I look at it, is this is borrowing money from an individual. It's their money. It's their retirement savings or their investment savings or their own savings in like a CD or savings checking account. It could be their IRA money that they've self-directed. It's their money, and they're lending it directly to me on one of my specific projects. That makes it a private money loan. Those loans are typically with a mortgage or a trust deed and a promissory note, right? It's an official loan, but it's direct loan from that private investor to me or to you, directly. And that's the biggest distinction between that. Now, what's nice is private money, these are individuals that you can build relationships with and that they can then turn around and lend you money for your deals. I'm at a point where almost all of my investment projects are with my own capital or with private money investors. In fact, I have information about how you can do that. If you're interested in being a private money investor on my deals, leave a comment below this video. But the key here is that you can go out and you can build relationships with just about anybody who's got capital that's looking for a rate of return. You have to explain to them this process. We can talk about that in another video, about how that lending works, why it's safe, why they're secure on the investment, and all of that. I'm just clearly want to focus on the distinction here between hard money versus private money. Private money, in my opinion, is much more relationship driven. You're building a relationship with that individual. There's more of a one-on-one basis. You're talking to them about your investment and how the project's going. Hard money, since it's more institutional, they've got lots of loans going on. They might have a pool of millions of dollars that they manage, and they're strictly looking at the numbers and does this fit our criteria for loans and all of that. So I definitely am more of a proponent of private money. Not that hard money's bad. I work with some hard money lenders that are great. The one thing about hard money lenders that you want to keep in mind is their terms change based on availability of capital. Okay, this can happen a little bit with private money, but it really happens with hard money. So in other words, a hard money lender could tell you, look, here's my interest rate, or here's my points, here's my fees to lend on, and then 30 days later, it could be completely different. Because as they deploy capital and their funds get shorter, or they get less funds to lend out, usually their fees go up. So what I do is, when you're working with a hard money lender and they quote you on a deal maybe you're looking at is I like to get that in writing, and usually it'll say these numbers are good for 30 days or something to that effect. So don't do what I did. I got to a closing one time with a hard money lender, and the fees were totally different than what was told me, 3 weeks ago when I first looked at using that hard money lender. And here I am at the closing and the fees had changed, and usually they go up, not down, which was what happened with me. And so it was a real eye-opener to me that, man, I gotta make sure I understand what these numbers are up front going into these deals. So I hope that was helpful to you. Again, leave a comment below if you're interested in knowing more about how to be a private money investor on my deals, or if you got any kind of questions at all about lending in general, about borrowing from a private money investor or a hard money lender. Leave those comments below. I'd love to answer those. I will get back to them, and we'll see you on the next video.